This is episode 1 of the 18 Plus podcast. Today we will be talking about how our marriage went from closed off and boring to wide open and crazy. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, make sure to give it a 5-star rating. You can watch 18 Plus at onlyfans.com/Katrina Blacked, which also includes weekly updates of me doing what I do best, making men come. Now, on to the show.
OMG. You've, really never had white girl pussy? Oh, my God, that is so serious of an issue. I think we're going to have to, straighten some things up for you because you totally need to get some fucking white girl pussy. Yeah. Know you want it, touch it, love it, gotta have it. White girl pussy is the baddest and the fattest, soaking wet. White girl pussy.
Good job.
Thank you.
That was a pretty good read.
I am loving this already.
I love it too. Okay, so here's what this podcast is going to be dedicated to. We decided that we want to do a podcast that revolves specifically around our life as a married couple that's in an open relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure most of you are familiar with us from our podcast Subjective and you from Brainless. But with Subjective, we weren't able to really sink our teeth into the sex part.
Right.
And we didn't want to sink our teeth into the sex part.
Yeah, that was a different podcast. It was more about the stories of Katrina Blacked. I feel like this is going to be a marriage of a Subjective and Brainless, and it's like a perfect...
Well, the problem with Subjective is, and I love doing Subjective, and I'm going to keep doing Subjective.
Yeah.
The problem is, sex is such a huge part of our lives. It was hard not to incorporate our sex life into Subjective, but that's not what Subjective was ever meant to be.
Right.
So I want to keep Subjective to myself. I want to keep it the podcast that I want it to be. And I told her the other day, if we're going to do a podcast about sex, let's do a podcast about sex.
Yes.
Nothing but sex.
Right.
So that's what we're going to do. Each episode, we are going to delve into things that we've experienced, how we got here. What else?
We are going to take everyone on a journey through our marriage. And if you know anything about us, you know that our marriage includes a lot of nasty, taboo, crazy sex.
It's true.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about it.
I'm excited too. And like you said in the opener, we're going to be talking about, this episode is going to revolve around how our marriage went from just very closed off and monogamous to what it is today. So today is just going to be that first baby step. How did we get here? What was it like when we were dating? Because obviously you don't start from being 17 years old and dating to a week later you're fucking black guys.
Yeah.
So there's a progression there.
Absolutely.
And we had a very real progression. So that's what we're going to get into today. So let's go ahead and start.
All right.
Dating. What was life like when we were dating? First of all, we were very monogamous.
Oh, yeah. So it was my idea of what I thought relationships were, which was me and you, and that was it.
You had a very fairy tale outlook. I would say up until probably 5 or 6, 7 years ago, still, even through that many years of marriage, you still had a fairy tale outlook on what relationships should be like.
You're right. I had an idea of what I thought a marriage should look like.
Yeah.
And it hindered a lot of growth, and I'm glad that finally I was able to kind of get through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've always had a people pleaser type of mentality, and you've always had a slut look to you. But,
Thank you.
But you've never had a slut mentality until we got married.
Oh, absolutely.
And honestly, when we were dating, we were trying not to have sex until we got married. And I would say for the first, how many months did it take? Because for a while, when we first got married, I was very supportive and not trying to push sex on you.
You know, when we were dating before we got married.
Oh, did I say when we got married?
Yeah.
When
we were dating, yeah, I mean, you were very supportive of, and I was pretty open with you that I was not having sex until we were married. Because I was super Christian. I was diehard Christian.
I found a loophole there. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, you sure did. So it was, you didn't pressure me to do anything. And I think we had been dating for like 7 months before we actually did anything.
Early on, it was a lot of dry humping.
Oh, yeah, we did a lot of that.
A lot of dry humping.
You had a lot of cum in the inside of your jeans.
I have scars on my dick to this day. from all the chafing from dry humping. She would not let me pull it out. She wanted no part of the actual dick. But she was more than happy to grind her stupid little clit on my dick.
On your jeans, on your fucking zipper.
Yeah, on my zipper. Yeah, but so real quick, let me address the loophole because I kind of forgot about that till just now. So how long was it? Okay, you said we went like how many months until
we went 7 months.
Was that before we had sex or before we did the first blowjob? Because you the first thing we did before we had sex, before we did anything else, remember you sucked my dick at the top of your parents' driveway?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at that point, had we done?
We hadn't had. That was the first time I'd ever seen a dick in real life or on porn. I'd never seen a dick before yours. Yours is the first dick I've ever seen.
You know when people say she's a keeper? Well, that moment for me was you were 17 years old. I was 9. I think no. Maybe yeah. We were upper teenagers. Mm-hmm. There no statutory rape. Nothing statutory happened. Okay. But either way, we were 2 years apart. So. Kiss my ass. But
you do the math, bitches.
So she lived down the country and they had this really long driveway and it was literally like a 45-degree angle driveway and it was like an eighth of a mile long. It's a really long driveway. Yeah. She'd wait till her parents were in bed. She would sneak out of the house. She would walk all the way up this long driveway and meet me up at the top. Mm-hmm. And most nights we'd make out, talk about whatever. Well, one night she sucked my dick and she didn't run from it. She wasn't grossed out about it. I busted straight in her mouth. Mm-hmm. The first time this girl sucked a dick was mine and I blew a load in her mouth and she just swallowed it and was like, well, that was fun. Yeah. And then at that moment I knew over my dead body will she not die right by my side.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But I mean, seriously, like how many girls suck dick for the first time, take a load in the mouth, and it can't be overstated that you were not grossed out at all.
Right. It's almost like
you had done it 1,000 times. Wait, hold on. Whoa. Oh. What the hell? I had never
seen a dick before yours. I'd never even watched porn. I'd never seen a woman suck dick. And I remember thinking, as your dick was in my mouth, how do I make this feel good? Like, I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, why is this thing in my mouth? Oh, this is so gross.
This is awkward.
This is weird. All I was thinking was, how do I move my mouth to make it feel good? That's the only thing I was thinking. And then when you busted my mouth, I was shocked. I didn't know what that was. Like I knew, okay, I wasn't like completely retarded. Like I knew men came, but that never happened.
How did you know that?
That men came, ejaculated? Yeah. I learned in health class. And I probably heard about it on the bus too, to be honest. But I mean...
So yeah. Let's get to the loophole I found.
All right, let's do it.
This is still when we were dating. We had not had sex. For the first time, you refused, and I was okay with it for several months to not have sex. Yeah. Because I knew you were very Christian, and I'm not trying to sound cheesy. I really respected that, and I was not pushing for sex.
Really? You never told me that. Well, that's kind of sweet.
What maniac puts up with another maniac for 7 months when she's not putting out? Okay, obviously I loved you. But anyway, but as things progressed, with all the dry humping, you sucked my dick, like I wanted to fuck you. Right. I'm sure I said make love a long time ago just to sound like a Prince Charming.
You didn't.
But anyway, so I really wanted to have sex. So I came up with the genius idea one day that, well, technically, if I put it in your asshole, that's not technically losing your virginity. And then maybe I'm remembering wrong, but it's like you kind of thought about it and you're like, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
But of course,
sounds like solid logic.
But of course, we had no experience in anal and lubing it up or any of that. So I'm pretty sure it was like trying to stick a dog bone into a dried dog bone into
something
with no lubrication. Yeah. I mean, it was awful. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and you had probably, I'm sure you'd watched porn a million times. You don't see them lube it up and work it in. You know, so from what you have seen from men fucking women in the asshole.
Well, we were both teenagers. And back then, I wasn't looking up. There was no Pornhub back then. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, there was many, many years ago.
Yeah, and that was like magazines and stuff.
It was like magazines. We were both teenagers. We had no experience. I just knew I wanted to put my dick in something. But there's like another layer to She's a Keeper. Her first 2 times with any kind of intercourse was she sucked dick, took a load in the mouth, loved it, and then the second time was she took a dick in the ass. You tell me what I'm supposed to do at that point.
I think I deserve to be spoiled. No, you know what?
I'm still married to you. You're spoiled. Being married to me has been a fucking dream come true.
You know what? You're right, Prince Charming.
So let's fast forward. Okay, so we dated. We were monogamous. Okay, well, hold on. I was a very jealous boyfriend.
Oh my God, you were so jealous.
And we are telling you this for a reason.
Yes.
So I was very jealous. I remember a time when we were driving on the highway, and this guy, I think it was a yellow, maybe I can't remember the color, but I think it was like a yellow Jeep Wrangler, drove by us, and it was this is such a small thing, but to me it was like a big thing. I thought I was driving, you were in the passenger seat. I thought I saw you glance over just for like a second. Like you didn't do a rubberneck where you were checking anybody out.
Yeah.
So as he passed, I thought I saw you look, and so I like looked at you, then I looked at the guy, and he was like some younger guy around my age, and he had like a Jeep, so a vehicle that was much nicer than mine. So I was very insecure, and I remember thinking, I was so jealous that you were checking him out, like you liked another guy.
Yeah.
Just the thought of you liking someone else or thinking he was attractive because he had a nice car and he was cute, that filled me with so much jealousy, and I hated it.
Yeah, you were extremely jealous. It was
very insecure.
It was one of those things where when we went out, it was hard. It was always in my mind, do not look anywhere because he's going to accuse you of checking some guy out.
And I stayed jealous through our dating years. And then when we got married, I was still a jealous psycho. I wasn't one of those jealous psychos that would go crazy and break things if I caught you looking at a guy. I was just very insecure, and I picked a lot of little fights because of my insecurities. Yeah.
But we still had a good sex life while we were dating and in the early parts of our marriage. I mean, we would have sex like 5 times a day.
No shit. We had sex all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
But the problem with me, and this is a character flaw, I think, is that I get bored really easily. I always have. And that's not just sex. It's with jobs that I have. It's with podcasting. It's whatever I do, I get bored. So I'm always looking to innovate. You
need a challenge all the time.
Yeah, I always need something new to do. Something else to, like you said, challenge my brain.
Right.
I always need a problem to solve, or I get depressed, frankly.
Yeah.
And so we started talking. Well, how did that work? Because I don't want to jump around. I know how, because I got some notes here and I'm trying to stay on cue, but I want to make sure I get everything chronologically right and what led up to the open relationship stuff. So I know that, did I cheat on you before we started talking about that stuff in bed?
Yes. So you were bored. We had been having monogamous sex for a good couple of years.
I think you cheated on me. Well, spoiler. I think it was 3 years into our marriage. So I'm about to say probably the first. I must have cheated on you about a year into being married.
Right.
And again, we've been together for like 18 years. So this is
we're trying to remember everything.
If we get some of the small details wrong, we apologize. Not like you would know the difference, But if we sound like we're all over the place, it's because we're trying to remember the best we can.
Okay, so you were bored, okay? We had sex for a couple years, and then we got married, and then we were still having monogamous sex. And let's be honest, I mean, you were bored, and I was the only guy you had ever had. I mean, you were the only guy I'd ever had sex with. So I wasn't experienced. I was still that Christian girl inside, and you were bored with that.
Yeah. And then I had a job. I worked at a plant. Doesn't matter what I did, but I worked at a big plant with lots of people, and there was a lot of Hispanic people that worked there. And not that that's super relevant, but the girl that I ended up cheating on you with was this Hispanic girl who knew like 3 words of English. And she taught me the word sexo, which means sex. And we'd go fuck in the utility closet at work. I mean, we were fucking like once a week or something. And somehow you kind of knew. I don't know how you knew, but you kind of knew something was up.
I always know, and I have always known.
So I was cheating on her, but then I guess there's probably a combination of me feeling bad about it and me being bored with our sex life. So somehow that morphed into... I remember the conversation now. I remember going to you and saying, I've had all these sexual experiences. You were not my first. I was your first, but you were not mine. I had had sex with, I wouldn't say quite a few, but
numerous.
A decent amount of girls before we got married.
You slut.
And the way I framed the conversation was, I would like it if you had more sexual experience, so that way we could have stories together and be more experienced together.
Well, and also another...
Is that right, though?
Yes, that was one part of it. Another part of it that you really talked about a lot was, Katrina, I'm the only guy you've ever had sex with. You only have experience with one dick. As you get older, you're going to meet men, and you're going to wonder.
I didn't want you to cheat on me.
You didn't want me to cheat. So you said, let's get it all out of your system with me knowing about it.
That's right. Because, and that was kind of a product of the fact that I was cheating on you. I started feeling insecure that you would cheat on me. So I kind of wanted to stay. If you think about it, it's genius.
Of course it is.
I wanted to stay one step ahead. Like, look, you do it. Go ahead. And then you can't cheat on me. I win. I win.
I'm starting to feel real shitty about the whole fucking thing. No, I'm just kidding.
So I wanted you to have more sexual experience. And then what happened then? Then we started talking about it in bed, right?
So you were really... So after the whole, you need to have sex with another man. You need to experience more dicks. So from then, of course, I was still in that whole monogamy mindset. Yes. So I was like, no. And so then what you did is you did little bite-sized things like, oh, Katrina, do you think he's hot? Would you ever fuck him? And that's how the whole quotes mentally, physically thing started.
Yeah, so I did another genius thing. You're going to find out through the course of this podcast, I do a lot of genius things. and one of the next genius things I did was I con her into wanting to fuck guys by saying that, look, I don't want you to, because she was very against physically doing anything with someone.
Yeah.
So I told her, no, honey, listen, you're not physically doing anything. You're mentally physically doing it. So I don't want you to physically do it. I want you to think about physically doing it. Then we're all good.
Yeah, you don't have to really do it. But in your head, if you could do it in your head, would you like to fantasize about it?
Yeah, I don't want you to want to do it. I want you to want to do it.
Does that
make sense? You're like, totally. So, and then that went on for what? Couple years. You're a tough. It's very ironic how easy you are now because you're a tough cookie for the first 2 or 3 years of our marriage.
You know what I think it was?
What?
I think it was the mind. It's all about the mindset. At that point, I was very Christian oriented.
Yeah.
So now I'm not. And so I'm like, oh,
Fair
okay.
game.
Yeah. You want to fuck? Sure. Spread my fucking legs to anybody.
All you gotta do is not be a douchebag and you can fuck my wife. So we had many, many, many nights, just about every single night, where we were fantasizing about who you would fuck. Would you fuck this guy? Would you fuck this guy?
Yep.
And I remember one night, and this is kind of what kind of kickstarted a whole nother thing. I remember one night we were talking, or we were in bed, and I said, who is somebody, like, I think I said, who's like a celebrity that you would like to fuck?
Yep.
And
what did I say?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Give it to me now.
Come back for episode 2 when we talk about how Ludacris opened up Pandora's box.